Now we are almost through the entirety of the Last Airbender series. I've casted the main 4 characters, the Earth Kingdom, the Fire Nation. Now I did say in the last video that I was going to include those characters that I missed, but the character list eventually started piling up, so I decided to break it up into 2 last videos. So today we're tackling the water and the air, and the next video we'll get to those forgotten characters. In the first video I talked about the inspiration for culture within Avatar and the possible ethnicities that it might fall into. So today specifically we're casting Inuit actors and those from indigenous roots in order to fill up the water tribe. Now these are some smaller characters, but within the overall story, they still provide growth and important segments, not only for our main characters, but for the story itself. But before we get started, I have to say thank you to today's sponsor, Surfshark. Surfshark is an app and a browser extension which allows you to protect your privacy and information, and even photos and videos, from potential threats. But if I'm being honest, it all comes down to being Canadian and wanting to use American Netflix. Surfshark allows you to disguise your IP address and allows you to select which country you'd like to appear from. As I said, I usually choose the states and have my way through those titles that don't appear on my version of Netflix. But in a time of so much uncertainty, especially online, it makes sense to put up that barrier for those who are looking to steal your information online. I actually use it a lot when I'm in public Wi-Fi, like when I'm at the airport that has a lot of potential threats. The great thing about Surfshark is it's the only VPN to offer one account to use on unlimited number of devices. So you use Brian Seeker to get 83% off, plus an extra 3 months for free. They give you a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to try it right now. So check out the link in the description below for more details. Now on to the casting. We are going to tackle majority of the water tribes and a little bit of air. Today we're talking about Monk Gyatso, Princess Yue, Hakoda, Master Pakku, and Gran Gran. So let's recast Last Airbender. First up, we have Monk Gyatso, a soft-spoken character who is really a great mentor, but more importantly a great friend to Aang. He is one of the few people within the series that is acting without his own interest in mind, and it's quite refreshing. He is calm, relaxed, and able to enjoy life and just have fun. His demeanor and his nature is the thing we need to tackle here. We need someone who has that gentle, calming voice, but isn't afraid to do something silly. I went with Randall Kim for this role, who isn't exactly Tibetan and isn't in line with those nationalities we were hoping to cast from, but when someone is as perfect as Randall is for this role, it's hard to overlook. He has that perfect voice as seen in the Kung Fu Panda series, where he plays Master Oogway.
Ah, yes. But no matter what you do, that seed will grow to be a peach tree. You may wish for an apple or an orange, but you will get a peach.
But a peach cannot defeat Tai Lung.
Maybe it can, if you are willing to guide it, to nurture it, to believe in it.
He's also showed a funner side in a more slapstick style as the Keymaster in the Matrix sequel, and he's also aged very well into this role. He has those same bags under his eyes, but it's his persona and the way he carries himself that would work well for Gyatso. So Randall Kim as Monk Gyatso. Next up, we have one of the first members of the water tribe we really see, and one that is really important, Gran Gran. Now, Gran Gran is obviously Katara and Sokka's grandmother and their main caregiver after their father leaves. Gran Gran is obviously loving, talks with wisdom and sense, and has a caring nature. She obviously wants what's best for Katara and Sokka. Tansu Cardinal is beyond perfect for this role. She is one of the best indigenous actors of all time. She's a powerhouse of an actor, but she can bring that calm, wise, and understanding nature to Gran Gran. She's also getting up there in age, but isn't too old to give a little bit more of a spry performance. But you can just tell that Tansu can do this through simple dialogue, having that loving nature and that wisdom.
And if it didn't, and you tortured that woman, you'd still be haunted by all the what-ifs. You spent a lifetime going down the path not taken.
So Tansu Cardinal as Gran Gran. Next up, we have Princess Yue. Now, Yue is important to Sokka's character and really important to the first season. The conclusion of her storyline is, well, an interesting one.
My first girlfriend turned into the moon. That's rough, buddy.
But that doesn't understate her importance. Now, Princess Yue is very poised, respectful, and surprisingly not terrible in the live action. She was actually casted pretty well, but she talks with purpose and cadence. Now it's important we want someone on the younger side who has chemistry with Sokka, who I cast Sholo Mardinia, who is 19 years old. Yue obviously needs to be beyond beautiful, with dark skin and a natural flowing energy. I did want to go with an indigenous actor here, but after searching and searching, I really couldn't find someone to land on the role. As in Sokka's case, in a perfect world, she would be indigenous, but I end up going with Jenna Ortega, who is 18, is of Mexican and Puerto Rican descent, and as I pointed out in the first video, there is a likelihood that she does share some indigenous roots. Either way, she has the look, but more importantly, she has that energy. You can see in the scene that her posture and even the flow of her voice is exactly what we need for Yue.
That's what I was thinking.
Now I really want to hear your feature idea.
Great. I've got a whole pitch prepared.
And I have like a super early morning.
Dude, 10 minutes. It's right up your alley, and I think you'll like it enough to share with your producing partners. Really.
And she's shown in you that she can do the emotional side of this role as well.
Everybody wants to get away from me. Why?
So Jenna Ortega as Princess Yue. Now speaking of Sokka and his journey, his father, Hakoda, is one of the most important figures towards him and really his journey. The idea of living up to his father's bravery, strength, and courage is something that is really important to Sokka. Although Hakoda's screen time is really limited, I feel like his presence on screen is still big. We need an actor who can translate that force and that presence. I went with Adam Beach, who is a seasoned veteran actor, and definitely has the acting ability to pull this off. He's most well known for his recent role playing Slipknot in Suicide Squad, which is a terrible misuse of his talents, but still shows he can do action. But you can see in his other characters he has that calm, cool nature, as well as he can do a mentorship role.
I might just take you for a jab.
You gonna let me get dressed, chick? Or keep demonstrating what an ignorant fool you are?
He also has a similar activist spirit which shines through, which would be great for this role.
So when I did Wind Talkers with Nick Cage, they're like, oh, Adam, we'd love for you to come and read for this role. We think you'd be great. I told them they have to ask permission from the Navajo Nation before I can even come in the room. They thought I was crazy.
So Adam Beach as Hakoda. Lastly, with Master Pakku. Now he is a cold, demanding, sometimes sarcastic teacher, but it should be said he is one of the most powerful waterbenders within this world. His techniques can be harsh and obviously he has his conflict with Katara, but we really need a veteran actor here. We need someone who can bring that presence, that lived in skin, as well as someone who can translate that they've lived a life before this series. Obviously tradition matters to him, since he only teaches waterbending to males, but there's a little glimmer of humanity and warmth that does peek through from time to time. He's not all harsh. It's also important we have that little bit of softer side when he talks about his previous engagement with Gran Gran. I went with Wes Studi for this role, who may be the most famous and well-known indigenous actor of all time. But I think a role like this demands that. He's best known for Last of the Mohicans, Dances with Wolves, and even being an Avatar. It's funny, I know him best from Mystery Men, where he plays the Sphinx, where you can see in this comedic performance he would still work well in this role.
He who questions training only trains himself at asking questions.
He has that commanding nature to him, and he can play that tough side, but he can also play the softer side as well as this character changes.
But now I see in your eyes, you are becoming your own man.
So Wes Studi as Master Pakku. So there are my casts for the Water and the Air Nations. Let me know your choices in the comments below. We're gonna have that extra episode, so please subscribe. As always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.